Tied. Linjani nkosazana.
Ngokhuluma isiNdebele namhla.
I'm trying.
Well done. Ngisharp njani?
Yeah, ngiyaphila.
Good.
Yeah.
You look good in your royal blue.
Thank you. You look so nice too. I love that though.
Thanks. Hello and welcome to Untied Talk. This is episode 7. I'm Wadzanai.
And I'm Tare. Hi, everybody.
Thanks for listening and thanks for all the feedback you're always constantly giving us when you send through your comments. And thank you for all the love that you send us. We feel it.
We love it.
Yep.
And appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. Today we are talking about, still on the subject of culture, we're talking about marriage and relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Marriage and relationships. When you get married, you do not just get married to your guy and then live on an island with your children.
No, you don't.
There is family dynamics.
Some try to. But
some try to.
don't.
Some can. And some actually do because they don't have family.
True.
You know, because of death and stuff like that. And maybe like traveling.
Yeah.
Being in different spaces and all. But in a normal setup where you have extended family, where you have in-laws, there's a lot of relationships that come with the union. Good relationships, interesting relationships.
Tension sometimes. And I think it's literally all to do with the change that's happening. You know, how I mentioned in the previous episode that there's 30 years experience of one format, maybe less, but you've got experience for so many years of one format, and then all of a sudden dynamics have changed, roles and positions have changed. And I think like it is in work, you have to manage that change. And I think our culture struggles to do that. Our culture perpetuates this negativity that comes with marriage and in-law dynamics and whatever, and they've just carried it on generation to generation, which is, I think, something that needs to be changed. And I am personally making a conscious decision in my life and in my household to change that culture, to be a better person than what I may have experienced or what I've seen my mother go through or what I've seen other women go through, you know. Like when you talk about in-laws, they should not be... Guys, like people should not want to offload. Like, let's make it normal to like each other, I think.
Yes.
I think.
To love each other as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I also feel like sometimes when people say, oh, they're not my in-laws, they're my in-loves, I will be honest. Each time I've seen that, I'm just like, I roll my eyes and I'm like, you ain't started yet, honey.
Well, families are different.
I know families are different, but I still feel like, because I look at myself and I look at how we started.
Okay.
Right. I won't go into detail, but I think we've had our fair share of issues in terms of in-law dynamics and whatever. And this is from my perspective, you know. I don't know if they see it the same way I do or they see it completely different. If they don't, then this is a chance to bring about that healing, right? And to move forward. I mean, I think our relationship started very nicely when we were dating. And then when we got married, it became very real. Things changed completely. Dynamics changed. This is why I mentioned the change management thing, to give context to that. And then now, 5 years later, we're in a better place. You know, I actually genuinely laugh and enjoy spending time with my in-laws.
That's awesome.
You know, and it hasn't been like that for the past 5 years. You know, there's been ups and downs. And, you know, I think it's that issue of change management, cultural expectations that may not, cultural unspoken expectations.
Yes.
And just you're getting into this space where you have to form a relationship with a person you don't know. Your person, your partner, the person you're married to, knows you because they've spent time with you and they know who you are, but their family doesn't. And I don't think our culture allows for that time to get to know a person. This is why the last time we had a conversation about this, you mentioned that white people do it really well, that they embrace marriage and relationships and, the person so well into their family. It's because they get to know the person before, right?
Yeah.
You get to go have dinners or whatever well before you're married. Whereas our culture says we don't see this person until after Rora.
Wow.
And we're already in it. Tatomo mu marriage yacho. Because Rora is marriage.
Yeah.
Tatomo. So we don't allow the cultivation of a relationship. And we now just all of a sudden throw a person in the deep end and we're like, you are this. You take care of the family, you do this, whatever. And we haven't given a chance to get to know Kuti, is this person, can they actually even cook? Can they actually even chaira? Vane my health impediments here anovaregerera kuti vatadze kutsvaira, things like that. Because sometimes munhu, it's not just kuti ane uchapa kana kuti ane nungo. Dzimwe nguva anenge ane like health impediments that don't allow them to do the things you're expecting of them. But we don't go through that journey.
So can we actually say that culture already just sets up this relationship for failure?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't even give you room to even thrive in your relationship?
I think so.
So even if you get to know each other, it's more of trying to survive this thing.
Exactly, because
the times that you meet, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Exactly.
So just for those that don't know, in our culture, and because this is a table with women, we're going to talk about it from our perspective as Varora.
And if there's a man who'd like to share with us their perspective from a male perspective, we would love to have you on a live show, or you could send a soundbite if you don't want to be seen visually and things like that. And we'll share that with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that we've always felt like it's unfair. Like Mkwasha will be received as a son in the home and will be respected full on and will be honored and accepted as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how people feel about them. He will just be respected. Then for Varora, we are not really received as daughters in the home, but you are received as a Muroora.
Yeah, so and that word is always thrown around.
It just separates.
Just always thrown around.
So sister-in-law doesn't really mean sister-in-law. You're not my sister. I'm your Muroora. So it places, this is the thing that then places Tetes in a more superior position than Varora because of how Muroora is just, you're just there to like work and stuff. Like in addition to the family, when you arrive, it's like, I feel like it's a celebration of,
Yeah, but I mean,
now we get to rest. Not so much of, now we have a daughter in our home that we can actually. So culture already just doesn't allow you to build a relationship because every time you're together, you're working. And how are you going to be vibing when you're working? You'll be tired. You'll be hungry. There's
the
no
process
cool
itself.
vibes there.
No, there isn't. I think the process itself, you were about to explain the process. The process itself contributes to this, right? Yes, people can argue that the process is supposed to bring people together, families together. But the process itself also adds to this image and this expectation of what Muroora is supposed to do. So you start off with your being shown around with the family, right? And then you go into the Rora process. And in the Rora process, you're also, as much as it's them honoring your parents, you're also showing them your stock as Muroora, because until you're there cooking and whatever for the celebrations afterwards, right? And then you have to serve them as Muroora, showing the hierarchies and that you know what is supposed to be done. And then you go ku noperekwa. And kuperekwa kwacho, right, is still another place for you to show them the stock that they've just gotten, right? You're working. So from the moment you're at the gate, I never got prerequad, so I don't know this from experience, but you either kambaira all the way to the door and it, or for some wanokambaira wakavharwa kumeso all the way to the door, mari ichingobuda. So this is me from my, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's academic perspective or whatever, but from my, like, if you then just, from a psychological perspective, if you break down those processes, like the kuperekwa process, right? Urukukambaira wakavhara kumeso, and you're making people give you money kuti uvise chakakuvhara kuti vaone munhu apinda mumusha, and then wakutora mvura yekugezisa vanhu and whatever. That entire process in itself broken down is already setting the pace for what people should expect of you and how they should treat you. And for me personally, I think that yes, there's culture and tradition in it, and the whole idea is that vanu sangana, vanu zivana, whatever. But I think we take it a bit too far because there are other ways people can get to know each other. There are other ways people can get together and know each other, right? So yeah, that's the process. Like, yeah, I don't know. You can come in.
Yeah,
there.
it is an interesting thing. And from my experience, kuperekwa it's nice. It's awesome when you get to meet the family and being received, with that whole clan waiting for you and stuff. But it's also a lot of hard work and it's painful. Hard work is painful. For me personally, acts of service is at the bottom of all the love languages. It's actually unwanted. So having to now work, having to now work beyond what you would normally do for more people is already just pressure, and it's painful because it brings fatigue. It's interesting. I say it's interesting because that's what's used to measure how you're going to be liked in a home.
Yeah, accepted.
How hardworking are you? I know that this and it's like, hey, you have to
the
work.
measure, though.
Yeah, and you have to work to prove yourself for you to then be accepted as a daughter in the home. Not just because, now we have a new daughter in the home. Yay. It's actually just, you still have to prove yourself and do all this stuff that culture has brought into the mix. Because to be honest, people, this is excluding people who are plain evil. There's no one who actually just wakes up and decides, I want to punish this Muroora with 1,000 chores. It's culture.
You think?
They may be there. Like I said, it's excluding. But from my experience, I've seen that it's the culture part. It's where people choose to honor tradition and culture. Yeah. That's what makes them put the rules. So, and yet these rules that are put in place by culture already keep you subdued as a Muroora. So you cannot be seen. You have to have a Zambia. Doesn't matter how hot it is. Cannot show your shoulders. You have a duku.
Who said that,
and
though?
Stuff like that.
Who decided that? If showing your shoulder... No, but okay, let me give you an example. If their daughters are walking around the house showing their shoulders and their knees, why should you not do that?
Because you're Mtorwa. So you are part of the family, but you belong, but you're not really in that way.
Do you know where my mind went?
Because try it, my friend.
No, but do you know where my mind went?
Where did it go?
My mind went to, you know how my grandmother always used to say to me, you can't show the back of your knee. And the reason she'd say that was because men get turned on by the back of your knee or whatever, you're weakening them in their spirits. So are they saying, Kuti, because Torwa, you're going to now seduce the men in their household, Kuti, they're going to want you? Is that where it's going? Because that's the only logical explanation to me. Because if their daughters can walk around like that, are they saying it's okay for them because ain't nobody going to want to touch them?
But they're supposed to see you as a daughter.
Hey, that's my point. This is where I'm going, what are we saying? But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, and it's unfair because it doesn't matter how hot it is. You're just being reminded of your place. The same way you'd expect auntie in your home to look a certain way because the auntie
I also think that's also a bit...
Can't walk around. In some places, it's an example.
I know.
Remind you and put you in your place that, yes, you've joined the family, but this is your place, in this home. Because we don't sit in meetings. You're part of it, but you're not really
part
of the family. And then next thing...
You don't understand because, when you came to my father's house, yeah? And this is for all Murooras, so I'm not specifically saying me. But when you came to my father's house, you said to my father, we are here to take your girl child because we saw her and we liked her, right? And then you're like, we are going to take her and we're going to make her one of our own. She's going to be our child, our daughter, right? But then now I'm in your household, where you took me from my people, right? And now you want to treat me like someone else. And you don't treat me the way you treat your daughters.
Culture.
That's
it's what they know, and it's
and
nonsense. We blame it on culture. But then also people do have a choice to connect. You can decide just how far you want to go in this culture.
Hey, which is why I say it's deliberate.
It is deliberate.
It's deliberate because you are a reasonable thinking human being. You know how human beings should be treated. So you should be able to say, you know what, ajinabasa kuti Muroora ane moyo wakanaka ndinomuda ndichamutreat the way I treat my children. Simple. Or and I'm treated the way I treat my siblings. Simple. Take time to make the effort.
To know
I think
someone.
we let each other go in the guise of culture.
But then the thing is, we don't have the power to change this culture because you've arrived. I know a lot of times we'll be taught, hey, Muroora and wachanoshika wonu batenza vanu. Hey, unasoshanda and stuff. Then you get there and you're 2 days old and you now want to be like, right, let's walk in love. And
Do this,
make your
do that,
husband
do this.
reconcile with people that he's whatever, not even probably talking to. And it's
Change
like, on
management.
and yet, on that one though, it's also we've just decided blood speaks to blood. So you're not going to be, and I haven't, this, you can try and get them, be like, oh, yeah, but people are the way they are.
You know what?
For a reason.
If there's something you're learning today and you're about to be a Muroora to somebody or a daughter-in-law to somebody, your person knows his people. Don't argue. Okay? Leave it alone. It's got nothing to do with you. Even if you're coming from the goodness of your heart and you want to do this because it'll be so lovely and whatever. If he says no, he knows his people, guys. Leave it alone. Don't fight it. Guys, don't fight it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. And at the end of the day, because we don't have that power, we just spend most of our time just trying to survive being a Muroora.
I think that's so wrong.
And no matter how hard we can try, the thing is, relationships can only be cultivated by those that are receiving you.
That's true.
Right? In the same way you said this in another conversation, like even if someone's starting a new job, there's that whole induction.
3-month probation, guys. Like, y'all
Where
need to
you
be
people-
able to tell me within the first 3 months, okay, for your marriage nobody, instead of 3 months, today a year, right? A year probation. This is something also that gets to me, though. This is something that gets to me. Like, and it's a Shona people thing, where we go around the block. Instead of me saying, Kuti, Wadzi, can you move your hand because I want to fix the table? I'll be like, Wadzi, don't you think that the cloth is not right? And, don't you think that it's wrinkled? And, instead of just saying, Wadzi, move your hand so I can just move the table.
Because my sisters, and we can talk
guys,
like
just be frank. Say, Kuti, you know what? In this household, we do things like A, B, C, D because this person is coming in not knowing the culture of the home. You're teaching them the culture of the home. Take time to teach. If they carry on doing the wrong thing thereafter, you have got all grounds and permission to behave a fool, right? But before you teach somebody and tell them, Kuti, this is not working, this is not what we do here. If the person is then now taking a deliberate decision to be disrespectful, then you know, Kuti, the person has a problem. But if they're doing it unknowingly and you expect them to be magicians and witches and voodoo, whatever, that know things from without even, guys, that's too much.
Like I said,
we're all
culture,
human, bruv.
It just sets us up for failure.
It does.
On my side, there's a lot of stuff that was expected of me that my husband never told me because he didn't know. It's not even like he was trying to be funny. He just didn't know. So it wasn't taught. And because of where we're placed in the family, there's a lot of older siblings. It then obviously comes off as a different thing. And it just can become something very interesting. So for me, I have older tetes as well. And no matter how much we can be in love, there's the generational difference that already just forbids this bond that I may have expected in my head. The same way I'm like with my sister, because already there's that. And then the hierarchy and how they respect each other, I remember for me it's something that I didn't know what level it goes to in terms of how they respect each other and stuff like that. So for many years, when I found out that, like someone said to me, you can't like speak to the older ones like this, there needs to be some certain level of respect and all. So for many years, I used to be afraid of the family, and I would be under so much pressure when they'd visit. There's a time when I literally changed my outfits over and over again because I was worried that I'm just going to offend someone here. And it's like, I don't even know what to say. So when you're together, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. I don't know. Where should I be? Oh my goodness. Because, you might offend. And this is how things are. It's how I understood it and lost out on all those years. Then when we spoke about it, actually turned out that this person didn't know about it, and she's actually amazing, and that's not even how things were like. But because there's no time to actually have a relationship or form one, because when you do meet, unfortunately, in our culture now, because of separation and because of relocation and stuff, people only meet when something has happened. And those are the days that have a lot of pressure. So there's no time to actually really be like getting to know each other and stuff. But I do appreciate how my mom-in-law is amazing. She's hired people sometimes when there's events that will actually come and help out, and then they'll do like the harder stuff. But culture, unfortunately, it just gets in the way. It will prevent them from seeing the beauty that I have as a person, and it will prevent me from seeing how amazing people are.
But
generally,
see, this
because
is
you
why...
get to only experience each other in that hard
But this
time.
is where now my issue is, Kuti. On the flip side, it's not like that for the men.
It's
so
not.
Why must we carry on this culture that is actually more detrimental than it is helpful? Culture is ever changing. We can change, we can adopt, we can take things that make sense. So why don't we do it?
I think another thing is hurting people hurt others.
Yeah.
So if your mom-in-law really saw flames, if she was really hurt to that point where it's like, I'm going to show you type thing, and then they do that to the next person, and the cycle continues because it was done to you. It was wrong, but it was done to you, and it's what you know, so that's what you're going to do to someone else as well. But I think our generation is going to end it. I think, and I hope.
I pray.
Because people are different, and no one's really passing on culture in that way anymore. And people are now just making the choices. So, for example, back then, maybe the husbands wouldn't really intervene when stuff is being done between like his wife and in-laws.
Sibling,
But now it looks like they put measures in place. They will decide, we only go there how many times a year? And it's like...
Yeah, well, that depends if your husband sees things that way.
Yeah, because they'll be trying to protect both, just to see some. So at the end of the day, it comes back to how does the husband also protect your relationship when it comes to this thing, considering that on the ladies' side, to be honest, men, that's just the honest truth. You're so honored, so respected, and so loved and welcomed.
And also, in most cases, the men, when it comes to Muroora relationships in the family, the relationship's a lot easier with the men.
With the bamkurus
this
and
is
the
where
baminis.
now I think that whole preaching of women supporting each other comes in, that it's actually pretty cool. You don't have to be mean to one another. You get so much more out of it if you're nicer. And also just knowing, Kutika, this woman is with your brother for a reason. Your brother went all the way out to do this, or your son went all the way out to do this. So just if you love your son, your brother, the way you say you do, then you must acknowledge and love this woman the way, because your brother, your son is happy. Right? And if the happiness is the ultimate goal, then there should be no issues. So the same way the woman is like, it's just an hour, it's just a few hours, it's just a day, whatever. You should also do that if you genuinely don't like her. And by genuinely, I mean you've made an effort to be friends with her. If you've made an effort and it hasn't worked, it's okay. But if you haven't made an effort, then you are the problem. You are the problem, because you have the power to control that relationship. Most of the time, Muroora come in like little blind lambs, really to the slaughter. They come in very excited, happy, saying, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have sisters. So like in my case, I didn't have sisters. I've got a brother, but I don't have sisters. I'm like, I'm gonna have sisters, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like that. They come in like lambs to the slaughter without knowing, So it's the onus is on you to make the effort. I vowed to my brother's wives, I'm going to try and be the best version I can be of a tete to them, because it makes life so much easier. If I want to see my brother, if I want to have a relationship with my brother, that woman is going to determine how far that relationship can go.
That's good. And it just takes making that deliberate effort, right?
Yeah.
To do all of that. And I've heard some girls who literally said, Inini, I want to marry a guy who's an orphan because I cannot deal. I do not want
I've
to
heard
deal.
that too. And it's
like,
terrible. It's sad.
Is that how bad it is? And earlier on you said sometimes Muroora Yasin on the day and stuff like that. On my side, we met before, I even went with my tetes before.
But
to be
introduce
honest,
kuno
there's not
introduce
enough time
tete.
to actually know
Yeah.
just how traditional a family is. And especially because the guy, your husband, is not. And then next thing, you get this culture shock when you then go and it's like, okay, this is where we are, but you're already there now. And
Imagine
and you
now
have
and then
to-
he looks at you like, bruh, this is what we do in my family. And
And
because
he
you're
expected
shocked.
with it.
You're like, oh, how did I not know this though?
It reminds me of what you said another time when you said, "Kuti guys," because when they were raised, they
were raised different expectations.
Exactly. It's like you know what this is.
With kunema deep
This is what my wife's life is gonna.
Hey.
It's gonna be like. But this deliberate decision also comes because it protects the children.
Yeah.
Because children watch
And they
they're
can see.
very observant, and they will ask questions.
And if you mistreat their mama, you best know
can
that you're not
see.
going to have that relationship with them because they're going to be like, huh, these people. Especially as they get older, they'll be like, please, I know you.
I've seen
I've seen
and
what
even
you
if you're
do.
not being mistreated,
Eh.
just the fact that there's no relationship.
And you wonder why
you will
anatete
never-
struggle to have relationships nevazukuru vavo. That's the reason. Vana vanenge vakura vachizviona kuti tetawa zvari kuita mai angu ka. And I kid you not, that's where it's from. I've always wondered, why do kids and their tetes not have good relationships? Izvozvozvo kuti unenge waona kuti mwana you see how your tete is treating your mom, and you're like, if this woman can treat my mother like this, what more inini? And then you don't have the relationship. And then also as you get older, vanhu hamusikutsvagana. Because uyu anenge aona zvaona
Yeah.
and they'll never express it.
No.
But iwe satete you're thinking with anodada adutaura neni. But
Anodada
nambe
kunzi.
mabasa ako akakonzeresa izvozvo. Anyway, I could
It's
go
culture.
on for a while.
It's a very sensitive topic.
It is.
And it brings some pain to it.
It does.
Physical pain. Because it doesn't matter how someone skinny like me needs to mona a bodo. No one cares about
Physical
what's your
pain.
physical
My
build like. Can you actually do this thing or not? Ashnaba says, well, you just must do it.
I think I only mentioned recently that I got kicked by a cow on my back. So as a result, on my spine, like my lower back.
Sorry.
I only
What
mentioned
were
that
you doing?
recently to my in-laws, and because we've just never talked about it, right? I was doing some shoot and I stood behind the cow and then it kicked me. And as a result, I can't stand for long. And then it's been made worse because I've had 2 C-sections, right?
Oh, my
So it's made
word.
worse because when you have stomach surgery, it weakens your back muscles. So I can't stand for long. But if I don't have that conversation, or if we've never had the opportunity to have that conversation, when I sit down while I'm cooking in the kitchen, or when I sit down ndichichaira, mninga mangu kuti, Muroora ane nungo. Ane nungo, ane huchapa, or whatever, because I'm not doing what you expect me to do, but you don't know why I can't do that, right?
Yeah, and you haven't had enough time.
And
to
we haven't
actually
had time to talk about it, right? So like I'm saying now, this is a
Uh-huh.
conversation we've had 5 years down the line, right? So imagine the past 5 years, wangwarukufunge. Vasingazive.
Cannot vashara behind your back.
Exactly.
And that doesn't build anything.
So I'm not saying this
Yeah.
is what happened, but I'm
Yeah.
saying as an example, let's make the effort, whatever is in our power, let's make the effort to try and be better. Because you
Yes.
don't know what the other person's thinking. Like you said, case in point, your sister-in-law actually said, no, guy, it's not like that.
Yeah.
And now you're cool because you talked about it. So talk about it. If you can't talk to them, talk to your person. If your person doesn't blow up when you talk about in-laws and dynamics, whatever. And person wacho, if you are watching and listening, like, don't take it personally. It's not an attack on you. It's not an
Yeah.
attack on your family. It's
shouldn't
just
have to
something that's
choose.
happening. When a person is coming from outside, it's easier for them to see things that aren't necessarily working within. You are too close to it, so you'll never see it. So don't take offense. Your person loves you, guy. They're not trying to tell you your people are evil for the sake of telling you people are evil.
Unless if she's messed up though.
Unless they're crazy. But
Because there are Aurora that just full on get into a homestead. Very twisted, and it's like, and they just
Hurt
create a lot
people,
of
hurt
tension.
people.
Exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, our culture has just made it difficult and has just taken away a lot of time and beautiful relationship that could be. Because so I think at the end of the day, you just have to decide: are you going to put culture above relationship?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to stay in your culture? But if you stay in your culture, you must know that no one's really passing it on, because if the dudes of it, if they're not aware of it, they're not going to teach their kids that. It ends with you.
Exactly.
So it's like, is it worth losing all the beautiful relationships for and stuff like that?
True.
Yeah, this is a never-ending conversation.
So if you want us to talk more about it, let us know,
Yeah.
and we'll do like a live,
Yeah.
where we can then also bring in, or you can send us out bites, and we can, you know, get different perspectives on this and your thoughts and views and stories. If you want to share your stories, you know, it's healing, therapeutic.
Yep.
We're also going to share some resources if you think you've got trauma and you need help, or you want to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
follow us on our social media pages.
Yes.
For a continuation of conversations like these and to let us know what you think. So this is Untied Talk. I'm Wadzanai. From us
To you, with love.